All right, guys, welcome to Dropping Dimes, episode 2. I'm your host, Flavio Rihanna. I'm over here with my co host, Javier Rodriguez, aka the Heavy Jalapeno. What is going on, Jav?
What's up, man?
Brought to you by Four Corner Sports. All right, Jav, so we have a lot to talk about. Let's talk about these games that happened yesterday. We got, a couple of coaches that have left, they're no longer employed. It's going to be a really good episode.
All right, let's get into it. So, first and foremost, the Clippers choke.
All right, so Game 7 we had yesterday between the Clippers and the Nuggets. Wow, so Clippers were up 3-1,
Just like the Jazz.
just like the Jazz, but this is the second time in 6 years that they blow a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, and people forget about regular season. They were up a lot in some of these regular season games as well, 16, 20, and they blew leads like that.
I know, but
So this was already a problem in the regular season.
this was a problem, but most people are not going to remember regular season games.
No, because it was a regular season game, but that's where they started from. I remember watching a couple Clippers games. They were up big and then they lost the lead.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think it is? All right, so but before we get into that, look, Jamal Murray and Nicholas Jokic, right, had great games. We're not gonna discredit them. Jamal Murray scoring 40 points. Nikola Jokic had a field day. I mean, we even said it ourselves that he was gonna take advantage on the matchup that he had against Ivan Zubac.
Bro, he dominated shooting 5 for 13.
And Zubac just the problem is that he can't defend around the perimeter. I mean, what's it called by the 3-point line, the perimeter. He's only good in the interior, and it's unfortunate just because Jokic knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. You bring the big man out of the interior. Now you create wide open lanes for like a cutting Jamal Murray, a cutting Gary Harris.
Yeah, he didn't have the feel. He didn't have the scoring going for him that night. He went 5 for 13, 0 for 4 from the 3, but he had 22 rebounds and he had 13 assists.
The 13 assists we expect.
He was helping in other ways and he wasn't just being one-dimensional.
No, of course, yeah, you can't be one-dimensional in today's game now. But the 22 rebounds, that's to show you right there, like, Jokic wanted the ball more than Zubac. He wanted the ball more than any other Clipper on that roster. 22 rebounds, that says right there that you want it no matter what. That you're willing to go get the ball.
Yeah, man, he was hustling, bro. Game 7. His whole team, they got out-rebounded 37-53, man. That's a lot of second-chance points for the Nuggets.
It's a tremendous amount of points, and I just feel like the Nuggets were playing on desperation. They won 5 games in a row, I believe it is, or 6 games in a row, elimination games in these playoffs. I mean, that's incredible right there. I mean, not many people do that in one whole playoff.
They came back 3-1 twice. Twice, man. Back to back.
Yeah.
These guys must be tired, though, honestly, because
now they already played 14 games, and now you're facing a Lakers squad.
Yeah, which isn't any easier.
isn't any easier, but they're fresh. They haven't been pushed. They only been played 10 games as opposed to 14. In those 10 games that they played, have that are nowhere near as competitive as the 14 games that the Nuggets have played.
Yeah, but we're getting ahead now with the Lakers. Let's talk about the Clippers, man. They did not score a single point until 7 minutes into the fourth quarter, man. Kawhi Leonard, I don't think he scored a single point in the fourth.
You could be right. If not, he probably ended up scoring a field goal. I have to double check my stats on that. But yeah, that was really ridiculous. Just because the Clippers this whole off season, they ended up stalking Kawhi. All right, remember how they were when he was in Toronto? They were sending people out into Toronto at his games, what is it, scouts, people that work for the Clippers. Same thing with the Lakers too. There were people that in the organization going to each and every single one of his games and scouting him. All right. Clippers were able to land the big prize in Kawhi Leonard. Clippers paid a ransom, a king ransom for Paul George, and look how both played. But we're not gonna give Paul George, a pass. And
I'm not giving Leonard a pass either.
Yeah.
Because this was his moment to shine. This is where he was supposed to come out and do what he's been doing consistently. Scoring, defending. I did not expect Kawhi not to score a single point in the fourth and go 6 for 22, have one of his worst shooting performances when he... It's just crazy, man.
Game 7, this is where the stars take over, and for the first time, I felt like Kawhi Leonard may have felt the pressure because when he was in San Antonio, he was the third wheel. It was Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, then Kawhi Leonard. Or you could even say he was the fourth wheel behind Manu Ginobili. Then he goes to Toronto. Nobody expected them to win. Nobody even expected them to even make the Eastern Conference Finals. All right. San Antonio shipped him out to Toronto, and he gets put on a team with Kyle Lowry. We didn't know too much about Pascal Siakam at that time. OG Anunoby wasn't playing that year, and halfway through the season they get Marc Gasol. They had Serge Ibaka as well too. Even though he wasn't halfway through the season, he was originally there. But this is not the same Serge Ibaka that we saw when he was playing for Oklahoma. And they managed to win the title. They won the title because of the fact that, and I'll be glad to say it, Kevin Durant wasn't playing, in that series. He played one game, and he ended up tearing his Achilles.
He was killing at that one game until he completely...
11 minutes, and he was playing like a monster, all right? I think he ended up dropping 12 points or something like that? Maybe
I don't
even
remember,
more?
but he was making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
He was making a difference, but I don't think... I'm going to disagree with you there. I don't think it was a pressure situation. I think he was just ice cold. Because he's been consistent through these playoffs, and he's had very few bad shooting nights.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those few ones, and it came at a really bad time, honestly.
It came at a really bad time, but that's what I'm saying. It may have been a pressure moment because it's Game 7.
No, I get what you're trying to say, but I don't think it was just that. I just think he didn't have it. They were chucking up shots, honestly. They were taking turns chucking up shots. I didn't see no playmaking by that Clippers team at all. It was one-on-one.
They weren't bringing it.
Speaking of one-on-one, look at Paul George, man. 4 for 16. Fucking pandemic P, bro. There's no way. Change his name. It's not playoff P. There's no such thing. 4 for 16, bro. What in the world? What was he doing?
Well, I agree with you. He should not be called playoff P. You can't be giving yourself nicknames like that and you don't deliver. All right. This is why other people give you nicknames. All right. Kawhi Leonard never gave himself the name the Claw. It was given to him.
That's honestly though a real life thing. You should not give yourself a nickname. Other people give you a nickname.
Exactly.
So example, heavy jalapeno. I didn't call myself that. One of my friends started calling me that. So
yes, and it wasn't me.
But yeah, getting back to Pandemic P. 38 minutes, bro. Only 10 points for the whole night. Game 7. Mm-hmm. What is he doing, man?
Now I know. No, you're right.
And I'm not letting Lou Williams off the hook either. 3 for 11. 6-man over there, bro. 7 points.
We'll get back to
terrible.
We'll get back to Lemon Pepper Lou. Lap dance Lou, whatever they want to call him. But as for Paul George, look, I know he had said at one point in an interview, I think with Rachel Nichols, that he ended up having, or no, I think it was after a game. I think it was game 2 or something like that when he had a good game. He said that the bubble was bringing out his anxiety. He was feeling depressed and something like that. Look, I get it. We had a private conversation earlier this week about, mental health and stuff like that, because of the whole Dak Prescott thing. But I feel like whenever you're playing, right, you're playing a sport, you're doing something, it takes your mind off of that type of thing that you're going through. And I just honestly feel that, Paul George hasn't gotten it done. I think he was feeling the pressure. I think he was hearing a lot of what the media was saying about him. I feel that he needs to learn how to separate that. Kawhi Leonard does a great job of like blocking noise out, and he goes in, he does what he has to do, and he leaves. He's been very consistent. That's why I was very shocked that he didn't have a good performance in Game 7.
Yeah, that was a complete shocker. I would have thought he's been there before, so it's not like we haven't seen him do well.
Yeah, correct.
So that's why when you said that you think the pressure got to him, and I looked back at that Philadelphia-Toronto game, and I was like, I don't know about that one. I think he just had off, but something's wrong with Paul George. If it's a mental thing, look, I hope he gets well and everything, but he's going to have to do something, bro, because he's keeping this up in the playoffs. He's never going to win a chip.
And you know what? He's going to be a free agent after next year, so he's only hurting his pocket right now. Because teams are going to be looking at him on like, sure, you do well in the regular season, but come to playoff time, you're already having multiple, seasons where you're not doing that well. This year, last year, not doing great against when he was with Oklahoma City. The year before Oklahoma City. This is already three playoffs in a row that he hasn't been doing that great, and it's becoming a trend.
Yeah, it's been awful to watch, man. There's no way around it, man. They choked. That's it. Short and simple. They choked.
Paul George choked. I don't know what happened, and we're getting back to Lemon Pepper Lou. I don't know what happened to Lou Williams. All right. He all of a sudden wasn't making the shots. He wasn't scoring enough. He was struggling from the field. I don't know what happened to him.
Montrezl Harrell was their leading scorer with 20 points.
And that should never happen.
Look, there is 3 superstars on this team. Where the hell did that come from?
And we also can't, forget that we got to give some blame to Doc Rivers. I mean, what are you doing? If you see that your players are struggling, pull them out. Put fresh faces in there. All right. Put Landry Shamet. Let him score. All right. Do something. If you can't have people shooting bricks. All right. Like once I saw Paul George ended up shooting from the corner, he hits the side of the backboard, and you see all of Twitter, roasting him. I mean, somebody had tweeted at Dame Lillard, and he's like, "Hey, you think this shot looks good?" And he's like, "Yeah, it looks great." You should never be hitting the side of the backboard if you're shooting from the right corner, and especially if you're a pro. I don't know what happened to Paul George.
Like I said, I don't know if it's a mental thing. I hope he looks for help to help him through that, but it is what it is, man. The Nuggets move on. Congratulations to them, but now they have a tougher opponent, and these guys have been rolling. So
yes, so the Nuggets are now going to be facing the Lakers. Vegas has the Lakers as the heavy favorites. Look, you got a well-rested LeBron James, but this team has been, relying on Anthony Davis, and now Rajon Rondo has come to form as playoff Rondo. So it's good to see, an additional player, helping out.
That's a real playoff guy.
Yeah.
Playoff Rondo, man. That exists.
Yeah. He's been doing it since 2008. So 12 years, we've been calling him playoff Rondo, and yeah, he's been very consistent. But yeah, so if Rondo is able to keep this up in this series in the Western Conference Finals,
it's over. Look, they don't have a chance.
It's over. But I don't know. We'll see. Just because Rondo may have had a favorable matchup, against the Rockets. I mean, Russell Westbrook isn't your typical, lockdown defender, anyways. James Harden has been playing better defense, but he's not playing at all NBA defense or anything like that. And at one point, they were like disrespecting Rondo. They were like, daring him to shoot, and he was knocking them down. So
he was on and off with that. Overall, pretty good to be honest. For Rondo, it's you what
it's
more
good
can
for
you ask?
exactly.
But
Never had the shooter's touch.
yeah. But look, as now we're getting into the Lakers versus the Nuggets. Here's my problem with this. I don't see how Denver is going to pull this one off.
I don't have high hopes for Denver pulling this off, but I just got an alert. Frank Vogel just said returning to form with the big man. Frank Vogel says he will increase the minutes of Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee in the matchup between the Nuggets because they'll be having the matchups between Nikola Jokic.
And that's pretty good, honestly, because it'll give AD some rest too.
It'll give AD some rest, but here's the problem. AD can guard Nikola Jokic on the 3-point line. I do not trust Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee.
I don't trust Dwight Howard. I can trust McGee because I know McGee will try. McGee has that length. Yeah. So if he has to jump out, he will get a contest.
Yes, but I'm just saying, what did we say before about Zubac?
What did you say before Zubac?
All right, what did I say? Fine. He pulled Zubac from the interior all the way out to the 3-point line.
And that's fine because they still have other people. LeBron James is still there to help defense. You saw what he did every time Russell Westbrook was trying to drive it. Anytime a lot of those Rockets tried to drive in, what happened? SWAT.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying now you're creating lanes. Now you're opening up the court.
But they were doing that anyways. The Rockets were doing that anyways.
You're right about that, but I'm just saying that the Rockets are very predictable. Their whole style of play is just running gun, shoot threes, and then get back on the other side, right?
They have explosive offense.
Explosive offense, but you can't live and die by the three. Denver is not going to live and die by the three. I'm just saying that they're going to pass the ball way better than the Rockets are. Again, I'm not saying that the Nuggets are going to be able to pull off the upset. I'm giving the Nuggets one game. I'm actually predicting Lakers in 5. I don't know if that's fair.
I agree there. But I think we have for different reasons why. I truly believe that the Lakers are just going to play. Look, Russell Westbrook and James Harden doesn't get harder guards to guard than that.
You're right.
Although Russell Westbrook wasn't really himself, and they shut down James Harden. Where was the James Harden you saw in the regular season and the postseason against the Lakers?
That's true. We'll talk about that in a second.
A lot of that has to do with Rondo too, being able to play defense.
Yes, Rondo was a huge factor. I mean, he did more than just score. He was setting up, whether it was Markieff Morris, setting him up with 3-point shots, setting up Caldwell Pope for 3-point shots. Same, cutting, making sure that Kuzma has cutting lanes so he could drive into the basket, setting up easier shots for AD and LeBron too. I mean, Rondo did a lot too. I mean, it was just more than score. His playmaking was outstanding. But the reason why I'm saying that the Nuggets, will be able to win a game, if they're able to open up the field, for 3-point shooters and driving lanes, they're going to pass the ball better than the Rockets. And also plus to the fact that Jamal Murray has been hot. So I do give the Nuggets that one game because of Jamal Murray. I have a feeling that Jamal Murray might knock down 40.
And that's 50. Fine. They'll win that one game, but that's what I'm saying. The Lakers will adjust.
Yeah, they'll adjust.
Just because he says he's giving increased minutes to the big man doesn't mean he's going to keep it that way, and that's it. He's going to adjust as the games go, and that's why they were able to beat the Rockets 4-1 because they adjusted pretty well. And that's why he's a great coach, and he's gonna do the same thing here. They're gonna drop that one game, they're gonna make the adjustments, and then learn from it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I just don't see who's gonna guard LeBron, man. Who is gonna guard LeBron? Michael Porter Jr.
He's too skinny for him. Paul Millsap.
Anybody. Paul Millsap's too slow.
Low. Yep.
Jokic is way too slow. Jamal Murray isn't gonna be guarding LeBron.
Way too small for him.
You don't have anyone that can guard LeBron, man. That dude has not. That dude is an MVP candidate for the season.
I won't be surprised if I see LeBron averaging over 30 in this series. Only for that reason, because nobody's going to be able to guard him. But he could average 30 if he wants to. It's just a matter if he wants to. If he wants
If he
to.
has to. He has got a lot of weapons, man.
That's
He
what I'm
shouldn't
saying.
have to.
No. That's what I'm saying.
But
If
see,
he wants
that's
to.
the difference. See, he'll do it if he has to. Like,
Yeah.
he'll go off. You know he's going to go off. And if he's not going off, he'll play make.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron's one of the best passers of all time, bro.
Yeah, he is one of the best passers.
He's going to find his teammates. And AD and Jokic will batter it out on the offensive side. But AD is also a crazy defender, which Jokic isn't.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like, getting back to what Vogel said, I feel like he's adding those extra minutes for Howard and McGee. Only because that AD's going to be, getting back down, and he's going to be exerting a lot of energy just trying to guard Jokic. If he's going to back him down into the interior, or he's going to have to chase him off on the 3-point
But that's what I said earlier. Like, they know that Denver has a bigger presence inside than the Rockets did.
Now, would you... I don't expect this from Mike Malone. Would you play Bobo more minutes in this series?
No.
No?
It's the Lakers. Listen, man, they should have started him off in like round 1 and round 2, but it wasn't going that way. He's not gonna get minutes, bro. He's not. To them, they're not. He's not ready. You never know, but they're not gonna take the chance.
Only reason I asked that is just because of the fact that the Lakers have height.
They do have height, but the thing is, the Lakers have big bodies, and they're gonna be able to compete with Bobo. Bobo, I don't think will do much against the Lakers. I think it's just a terrible matchup for him.
Yeah, I just figured I'd ask.
Because he won't be playing center. He'll be playing power forward, small forward at most.
Mm-hmm.
And who's there, bro? AD, bro. They have two defensive player. They could have been possibly the defensive player of the years on that team.
Yeah. But Giannis ended up getting that.
Yeah, I was one, but still, like AD came in second. Like that's the guy that Jokic has to worry about. I like my chances with the Lakers. Lakers 4-1.
Yeah. All right. So we both agree. Different reasons why they're gonna get that one game, but okay. All right. So we had a game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. All right. So one of my picks, got eliminated. I had originally had the Clippers making the finals. That's no longer the case.
Yeah, I did too.
But the other of my picks is still alive, which is the Boston Celtics. I picked the Celtics to represent the East. I didn't have faith in the Bucks for different reasons, but the Celtics faced the Heat last night, and what a game, man! I mean, if that one game represents what we're gonna have the whole series, I'm in. I mean, this is gonna be like the most exciting series out of the 2 series that are left remaining.
Yeah, the Heat caught everyone by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it was a really great game. Went to overtime, and it got Bam Adebayo.
You said it right. Yep.
With a game-winning block over Jason Tatum, man. Clean block. No discussion there where it was a foul or not. That's great defense. And I told you, this Miami team plays super.
They're very
hard
disciplined.
Defense. Yes, they play hard, man. They play with a lot of defense. Tyler Hero, man, he's got no fear. He shoots it. He's knocking shots down. This is great, man. It is an even matchup talent-wise, I do believe, but
you know what it is? It's just the heart and discipline. It's that Pat Riley style of team.
To me,
led by
Heat,
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, to me, the Heat have better defense, and the Celtics have a little bit better offense than the Heat. So it's gonna come down to that.
No, I disagree with you on one of those things. I think the Heat have better defense, yes. The Celtics have better offense, but they're not very disciplined. They sometimes they're not always in position on where they're supposed to be at. And that's why you had, hiccups like what happened in the previous series between when they had faced Toronto. That's why I feel like I don't know.
Well, to be fair, the Celtics have had a lot of change-ups in the locker rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
So you go from playing Kyrie with total drama and stuff, Al Horford leaving, to playing with Kemba Walker, and you're still trying to work things out together. The Heat play like they know they've been together since like forever.
Correct.
They have amazing chemistry.
Amazing chemistry, and half those players weren't even on the team the year before.
That team's just full of, like Jimmy said, man. Just some of these
They're
motherfuckers
full
can
of
ball
dogs
on this team, man.
Yeah, they could. They're dogs.
Some
They
balls
don't
on
care.
this team, man. Yeah, it's true. And I'm more excited to see the Heat play than the Celtics. It's a good matchup. But I want to see. I'm gonna give my prediction right now. I got the Heat winning in 6 games.
In 6.
4-2.
4-2. Well, I'm gonna defend my pick. I'm gonna say Celtics in 7. I'm gonna say Celtics in 7. This is not gonna be an easy series for either team.
No, it's not gonna be an easy series, and I don't have it 4-2 like the Heat win like nothing. I think
it's gonna be
very close.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more or less like how Game 1 was. It's gonna be between like 3 points. I feel like the biggest margin of victory is gonna be no more than 10 points at the maximum. But yeah, the Heat are very disciplined. The Celtics, they can score on anybody if they want to. I mean, you got players like Tatum, Brown, Smart, who's been knocking down shots all playoff long. Kemba, you're gonna get Gordon Hayward back. So I mean, they got options to score the ball. The Heat, on the other hand, you got snipers like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. You got an amazing all-star in Jimmy Butler, somebody that's super underrated in Goran Dragic, who could play field general with them. You got players like Bam Adebayo and Jay Crowder. I mean, there is no question, in my opinion, that this is the most exciting series out of the two. And I can't wait. I mean, we have Game 2, tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 7 o'clock on ESPN. I can't wait for Game 2.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Heat can pick up this win and go on a 2-0 early lead. That's just me. I just want to see Jimmy Butler in the finals, man.
I would like to see Jimmy Butler in the finals too. There would be tons of storylines. The Heat make the finals.
The Celtics team has got a lot going for them. They'll be back. Even if they make it, they'll be back again.
I don't know. I mean, I was saying earlier that this is going to be whoever wins the finals this year, they're not making it next year. Just because of you got the boys in the Bay Area coming back healthy. You know, the best shooting backcourt in NBA history in Steph and Clay.
They're not in the same conference.
No, I know that, but I said that whoever wins the finals is not going to be, able to win it.
Oh, you're getting way ahead. I'm just talking about who's going to make it to the finals.
What's it called? And even if the Celtics, the Heat make it, they're not making it again, next year because you got a 7-foot monster that can shoot, from the parking lot, who plays not that far from where you're living at, and Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets. They're coming back. I mean, Brooklyn looks pretty good even without.
And that's assuming we know Kevin Durant's going to be Kevin Durant. We don't know yet.
Yeah, Kyrie.
That injury's a big deal, man.
That injury is a big deal, but I'm not really concerned because he's a shooter. If he played more like LeBron, explosiveness, then yes. But you also have Kyrie as well, coming back healthy. He's not going to play only 20 games. And you have another year of experience with Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen. So the East is looking tough, and who knows what happens with Milwaukee next year.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, I do want the Heat going, and I have them winning a Game 6. I do personally. I personally not a fan of either of these teams, but I do like Jimmy Butler, and I hope he gets this to go to the finals just to see what he can do, man. Because I feel like this is his best chance to win.
This is his best chance to win, but I gotta ask you one question: who is the biggest X factor from either team? Name me an X factor for the Heat and name me an X factor for the Celtics.
For the Celtics, it's easy. Gordon Hayward, man.
Gordon Hayward is the X factor. Okay.
If he goes off, that whole team is gonna benefit from it.
Okay.
They're playing without him already, and they're making it close. But if he can come back and give you some points, like they benefit.
Okay.
If
And
he's
for the
not
Heat.
shooting bricks out there, then yeah.
Yeah.
For the Heat, I'm gonna have to say Tyler Hero, man. If he can
Tyler Hero.
play at an
Okay.
elite level every day, I'm sorry, not every day, every game,
Yeah.
bro, they're gonna they're gonna win.
Yeah. I like your pick for Tyler Hero.
What other Ricky like Tyler Hero that just pulls it? Especially, did you see the game the late? What is it? The last minute where he pulled up for a three with two people around him, and he knocked it down, man.
Yeah, I like your pick for Tyler Hero. I'm gonna say it might be Jay Crowder, just because, and I'm saying Jay Crowder because he defends. This guy's like a Swiss Army knife. He could
Yeah,
defend.
he also had a pretty good shooting night.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say Jay Crowder because like when he gets hot from the 3 point line, Goran Dragic is gonna feed him the ball as much as possible, and he defends too. He could lock somebody down if he really needs to.
No, yeah,
I,
of course, but that's what I'm saying too. Where like Tyler Hero,
yeah,
if that guy is already scoring, if he can play even a remotely good defense,
yeah.
it's over, man. That dude's gonna be special.
That's the only reason why I didn't pick Tyler Hero is because you have to hope, that he plays great defense, right? That's why I picked Jay Crowder. As for the Celtics, it's very easy for me. I'm not gonna really depend on Gordon Hayward because we don't know when he's gonna come back.
Well, you didn't
But
say depend. You said X factor.
yeah, X Factor, yes.
There's a difference between if you would have said depend, I would have not picked Gordon Hayward.
Okay. I'm gonna pick Daniel Tice. Reason why I'm picking Daniel Tice, he's gonna have to battle with Bam Adebayo on getting rebounds. And game one, it didn't look so well. So if he's gonna be able to make adjustments into game two, boxing him out and doing like the little plays that doesn't get really recorded on the stat line, the Celtics should be able to win game two.
To me, Thies is not an X factor, man. He's playing the best he can already, and I just don't think that dude has a lot to offer. I think he's very limited by his abilities.
Yeah, he is very limited, but
And that's
just
something he just has to work out during the summer or something because there's no adjusting for him right now. He's doing whatever he can. They just threw him in there, mind you.
Yeah, they threw him in there.
They didn't expect Al Horford to leave. No one expected really Al Horford to leave.
But thank God he left because look what happened when he ended up going to Philly.
Yeah. So it's working out for the Celtics right now, but I don't know about these, man. Just to me, he's just giving it all he's got, and that's what you're gonna get. That's what you see.
Yeah. All right, so we already made our predictions pretty much. Who are gonna be coming out of the conference finals? We have it. We both have Lakers making the West, representing the West, and then for the East, I picked the Celtics. You picked the Heat. We'll just have to see in the next 2 weeks to see who's gonna make the finals. All right, so we ended up having today the NBA announced the All NBA team. All right, so we have any disagreements that ended up for the All NBA team. So
You did?
and I'm asking you. So for the All NBA team, it was Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. From the Lakers, you had AD and LeBron. You had James Harden from the Houston Rockets, and you had Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. As for the All NBA second team, Los Angeles Clippers Kawhi Leonard, Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic, point guard from the Portland Trail Blazers Dame Lillard, point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder Chris Paul, and power forward for Toronto, Pascal Siakam. And lastly, you had from the All NBA third team, Boston Celtics Jason Tatum, Miami Heat forward, or Miami Heat guard. I'm sorry, Jimmy Butler, center from the Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert. You had point guard Ben Simmons from the Sixers, and lastly, you had Houston Rockets point guard Russell Westbrook. All right, Hob. So after I read all these names, are there any disagreements that you have whatsoever?
Okay, first team is set. I don't think anyone deserves to get taken off. Giannis, the MVP.
Hmm. Clearly, that he deserves to be there. LeBron, in my opinion, he was second coming of MVP.
I'm sorry, not MVP. Defensive player.
Defensive player, yeah, but all right, you got pretty much like all three players, in the running for MVP in the first team with Harden, LeBron and Giannis. I agree with that.
Okay, well,
AD.
hold on. You asked me that he starts.
All right.
So Giannis is possibly going to be back-to-back MVPs. LeBron, we all know who LeBron is. James Harden, offensive juggernaut. No one could stop him. You got to double team the man to stop him. AD, one of the best big men in the league. And then Luka Doncic, who does everything so well, dude. It's great. This first All NBA first team. If this was a real team, they would never lose.
They wouldn't lose at all. You're right about that. I have no disagreements whatsoever for the first team. Doncic had a great year, a huge leap from last year to this year.
I wish I could tell you I'm surprised, but I'm not. I saw it come from a mile away. He was only going to get better.
Not like this. Like this.
I fully expect. I already thought he was this good last year, so this was not a shocker at all.
For the jump that he made, no. I mean, nobody on TV, nobody in the media even expected this. I was a little surprised to see how big of a jump he did, but I'm very excited to see what kind of a jump he's going to make into next year. Anthony Davis, no shock there whatsoever. He's been very consistent. This guy's a walking double-double. He'll block your shots if you try to come in near the rim. James Harden, like you said, offensive juggernaut. This guy is like a video. He piles up video game numbers on a daily basis. LeBron James, there's nothing to be said from there on. And Giannis having another great stellar year. No questions asked. This guy might be, the back-to-back MVP. Like I said, no disagreements on the first team. Second team.
Yeah, second team. Kawhi, no problem with. Jokic, no problem with.
Dame,
Lillard,
no problem.
Zero problem with that. Chris Paul, with the season he had this year, absolutely no problem. He took that OKC team and ended up with the same record as the Houston Rockets.
Yep,
that's amazing. Right. That year was supposed to be a bust for them, and they made it to the playoffs. Siakam on the second team. I don't know about second team. I think he deserves to be on the list. I think I would have put him third.
But it's just weird just because like these go by. You only get 2 guards, 2 forwards, and a center. I think the reason why they put him on second team is who are you going to replace from the third team going into the second team? Because Jimmy Butler is listed as a guard. I would have put Jimmy Butler in as a second team. But who are you going to knock down? Are you going to knock down Chris Paul? You're going to knock down Dame Lillard?
Jimmy Butler was great, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he was better than Dame and Chris Paul.
That's why. So it's like, who do you really knock down? And are you going to move up Jason Tatum for Pascal Siakam?
I don't know. That's to me, I don't. That's where I'm having my. That's where I don't agree, honestly. I don't know if it should have been Tatum over Siakam or Siakam over Tatum. That one's iffy to me, but I can live with it. There's no problem with it, honestly.
I think the only reason why they gave Siakam second team is just because of the jump that he ended up making in the regular season. And he had no Kawhi, no Danny Green, and Toronto pretty much had a very similar record from what they had last year. So, yeah. I mean, do I agree with him being second team? No, but it's just more or less it's like one of those things. It's like, who do you replace him with? And Jason Tatum, I felt like he didn't do enough in my eye test to jump over Pascal Siakam. So I just feel like Siakam was just like a throw-in. I was like, all right, even though he belongs in third team, we got to fill in the slot in. So he belongs in the second team.
I don't think it was because of that. I think it's just because considering the team Jason Tatum had to Siakam had,
Yeah.
the Celtics obviously had a better team. So still being able to do the things he did with that Raptors team, I think that's why they put him in second.
Yeah.
But I guess you can have the argument whether you would want Jason Tatum there.
Yeah, it's a
But
fair argument.
yeah, but speaking of Jason Tatum, he ended up on the third team
13.
with
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler, Rudy Gobert, Ben Simmons, and Russell Westbrook. I don't know if I want Russell Westbrook here over CJ McCollum.
CJ did deserve it. I know there's some chatter about Bradley Beal should have been on the third team for him averaging 30. I don't know. There's questions about this because Westbrook has been very, very. How do I say it?
I'm sorry, I meant Beal. I didn't mean CJ McCollum.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I mixed them up.
oh, you meant Beal? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I thought he should have made it, considering that team he had.
See, the only problem that I have with is that he didn't make the playoffs. He didn't make
Yeah,
the play, and I feel like these writers, the media voters, they reward players for winning, and if you're a player that doesn't win, you're on a bad team and you're putting up great numbers.
Devin Booker.
Devin Booker, although he's somebody that I actually would have put over Westbrook, but if he would have made the playoffs, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, I think
But
it's heavy. They take into account heavily, or then the team record and all that. So I guess that's why they had. But if it wasn't for Westbrook being there, I would have definitely had Bradley Beal there.
Bradley Beal had like one of the better years of his career. Mind you, he ended up signing that extension. I mean, everybody was wondering what if he was going to be a free agent after this year. But I have no problems with Gobert being there. I have no problems with Jimmy Butler. If Dame Lillard and Chris Paul didn't have the season that they had, Jimmy Butler would have been second team. But since he's a guard, he had to be, for third team. And Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons did well for the team that he had. But it's just like, who do you put above him? I'm not going to put no Bradley Beal.
I have no issue with Ben Simmons being there at all. That dude is crazy good, dominant. Yeah, people let him shoot, but he makes up for it in other ways. It's just that team is not. I want to say the best. They have a lot of issues they got to deal with.
They're underachieving, and the chemistry problem
But
on that team is
yeah,
outrageous.
yeah, 100%. But I don't have a problem with Ben Simmons here because he is a dominant player. So
Yeah. All right, so we have a few disagreements as for the listing, but
yeah, but overall, I think they pretty much nailed it.
yeah. Well,
And speaking of more lists, we got the rookie first team, and I don't think you'll hear any disagreements here.
okay.
Ja Morant,
Of
Kendrick
course.
Nunn, Zion Williamson, Brandon
Zion.
Clark,
Mm-hmm.
and Eric Pascal. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Pascal?
Eric Pascal. Yeah.
Not surprised to see Zion there, even with the little bit of games he played.
Yeah, voters loved him. I just when playing the amount of games he did play, there's one of those things that I feel like is a little bit of favoritism, and some players might feel that type of way. It's understandable, but with all the hype that comes along with Zion, you guys should have expected to see that.
Yeah, this is good. Honestly, I have no disagreement here.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the second team, Kobe White, Tyler Hero, Terrence Davis, P.J. Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me, Rui
Sorry?
Hachimura.
Oh, Rua Hachimura. Yeah,
Rua Hachimura. There we go.
yeah for the Wizards.
Yeah. So honestly, yeah, this I don't have an argument here.
Yeah, I mean overall, decent list. can't really disagree with anything that was being said, but yeah,
Nobody snubbed here. That's all I'm gonna say. Nobody snubbed
yeah,
here.
nobody has been snubbed on this one.
But yeah, so moving on from that, some big news. Mike D'Antoni.
Mike D'Antoni.
I'm sorry. I'm tired. Call him Mike D.
Mm-hmm.
It's leaving the Rockets, man.
Yeah, so D'Antoni ended up resigning from his position as head coach of the Houston Rockets. Ended up leaving. I don't know. I mean, this guy actually could be something good. Harden may not like this move because this guy helped Harden win, an MVP. But the team needs to win. They've been underachieving. They spent all that. They made that trade just to get Russell Westbrook. Gave away a lot of draft picks. Gave away Chris Paul, and look at the year that he had. I don't know. I mean, there's talks about Ty Lue possibly taking a position of head coach for the Houston Rockets. That would be amazing. I mean, you got somebody that has championship experience as a coach.
Now, I don't have any coach in mind to put on that Rockets team, but I do think it's a good move for Mike to leave because he's more on offense than defense. And his style, I don't think his style of play would win.
His style of play will not win at all.
It's exciting to watch, but come postseason, it doesn't really work.
It doesn't work. It's one of those styles of plays that, like you said, it's exciting to watch. I mean, it's a stat stuffer of a type of a style of play. He's gonna get people in MVP. I mean, look what he did with Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin in New York was the talk of the town for a month straight. I mean, it was Linsanity. And look what happened after he moved on to a different team. He actually moved to the Rockets before D'Antoni got there. Nothing. Signed that big deal. Nothing at all. Right? James Harden blew up. I mean, he never averaged 30 points before D'Antoni was there.
When he was on OKC, so he wasn't exactly the first option.
No. When he was with Houston, Kevin McHale was his head coach. That was his first
before he was on the Rockets.
Yeah, before D'Antoni got to the Rockets.
Oh, D'Antoni. I thought you were saying Harden.
Yeah.
No, but he was developing into a better player. And
I just felt like
Mike took it to another level, man.
Yeah, he took it to another level because his style of play is just like run and gun, and it's just score.
Yeah, I mean, look what Steve Nash.
Exactly, yeah. He helped Steve Nash win 2 MVPs. He helped Harden win an MVP. He made Amari Stoudemire look great. He made Jeremy Lin look great for that 1 month. The one player that didn't really excel in his offense was Carmelo Anthony.
Nah, he didn't. I thought he was terrible for New York.
Yeah.
But getting off topic, so I think this is a good change for the Rockets. They're gonna get a different coach. Maybe, hopefully, play some defense. Because James Harden has gotten better defensively, so I don't see why not. If James Harden can do it on both ends, then why not?
I fully agree with you on that.
But now you come into the question where you have Russell Westbrook still with you and you're stuck with him. Do you think they can win a title together?
No, definitely not. I don't know. I feel like Russell Westbrook, he falls in line under the same category as Carmelo Anthony. People have had a hard time trying to win a title with Carmelo Anthony. That's why Denver, was willing to trade him after he requested a trade. And look what they got for him. They got better. Some of those picks in there are transpiring into more trade bait to get to the point where they're at right now. As for Russell Westbrook, he was good enough to take his team into the playoffs after KD left. They got bounced out each year in the first round, underachieving. That's with him having Paul George and having Carmelo Anthony. That 1 year when they faced Utah, the next year they ended up facing Portland. Damian Lillard ends up hitting a shot from the logo, sending them home. In that first year without Durant, he ended up having Victor Oladipo, who Victor Oladipo isn't a top tier superstar. He's a good all-star, borderline all-star, and ends up getting bounced out by Houston. I honestly feel that Russell Westbrook isn't the type of player that you want to have if you want to build a championship type of team. He's the type of player that you want to have if I feel like you're just trying to at least get into the playoffs. Like, he would fit perfectly with the Knicks because the Knicks, their only hopes at this point is to try to make the playoffs because they're not going to win a title anytime soon. And look what Oklahoma City ended up doing, after he left. They predicted that OKC was going to win about like 20 games. No, they ended up winning, winning more than enough games to make it to the playoffs. I think they won 40 plus games. With Chris Paul, same roster that what's his name, Westbrook had, but they just excelled better. They meshed better too.
Now I don't know about meshing better. They had
with Chris Paul, yeah.
Chris Paul likes to get everyone involved. He makes others around him better.
Exactly, that's why they meshed better.
But the same result happened when he got into the playoffs. So
they finished with the same record.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say is that it's the same ending. So
I don't know. That Game 7 could have went either way.
OKC made a lot of mistakes down the stretch, and they couldn't shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So I disagree there. It ended the same way. So Oklahoma's still in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is they have some value in Chris Paul now, which nobody thought. Everyone thought he was just going to go OKC to die, basically. Yeah. So, but no, he proved everyone wrong.
Correct.
But as far as Russell Westbrook and James Harden, I'm going to disagree with you completely. I think they can win with him.
Really?
James Harden says they're a piece away. They've been saying that for years. But this time I really believe it because they have Chris Paul was more, I want to say Chris Paul's play style didn't fit with Harden. Russell Westbrook needs to learn, in my opinion, how to just let James Harden take over. Russell Westbrook needs to improve his shooting if they want to win.
I just feel like it's been worse.
Yeah, I feel like it's been worse too. But he's got to figure that out because with him shooting bricks, it's not going to work out. But I think they can win. Look, man, these guys grew up together. They know each other. They play well together. The only thing is that the play style that Anthony had on them wasn't for them. It was for James Harden, but it wasn't for the rest of the team. So I think with a new coach and everything and maybe get a decent big man in there, I think they can give it another shot. And they have no option anyways but to give it another shot. They're kind of stuck with Westbrook. It's got a massive contract in his hands. It's going to be really tough to move that.
It is very hard to move that.
So why not try to get a couple of big men, get a different kind of coach. We introducing a different kind of play style, and hopefully it works out for them. So I think they have a shot still of winning a title together.
It'll be very, very hard. I wonder what that one piece is that they need. I mean, they traded Clint Capella because they wanted to go small ball. I'm very interested to see, what do they have.
Well, it's going to be a new coach, so we'll see what he wants to do as well. It's going to matter a lot who coaches that team.
That's why I feel like Ty Lue and Mark Jackson, somebody is going to be able to get their attention.
They're playoff ready. 100%. They're playoff ready. They just need to get past that second round. But, we'll see what they do this offseason. And speaking of more offseason, Giannis, he said it a lot of times. He wants to stay in Milwaukee forever, blah, 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 blah. Every player says that.
I think we hear that line way too often.
Yeah. Now, interesting enough, he had a dinner meeting with the ownership for what they said, 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours.
Now, I'm a little concerned here. 3 hours is a lot of talking.
That is a lot of talking.
I want to know if they were asking him who should we pick up as team, pieces over the summer. I hope it's not up to Giannis. We've seen what he does at the All-Star team.
It's rough.
He's a terrible picker.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope he's not LeBron James in the offseason. I'll tell you that.
No, he's definitely not. At least LeBron knows what he wants.
I do not want Giannis picking and choosing who he wants on his team.
Mm-hmm.
However, they do need to talk. They did need to talk, and they did, because how are you going to win with what you have right now? I don't know what much more they can do.
Well, Chris Middleton is definitely, not a number 2 for a championship squad. He showed very good signs of scoring when Giannis wasn't there, but you need somebody that can score and could handle the ball and work cohesively with Giannis playing too. You can't have Giannis sitting down and then you start dropping buckets like that. For that, you have like a Lou Williams.
I think they do need a 6-man.
They definitely do need a 6-man.
But
they needed a solid number 2.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Middleton is your number 2 guy. Mm-hmm. He's a great shooter, but I don't think he can be your number 2 guy.
No, he definitely can't.
And Giannis will continue to elevate his play style, and he's going to get better at shooting if he keeps it up. So it could only get better for Giannis. But for his team around him, I think they really need a 6-man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying they need Lou Williams kind of 6-man, but someone that can give him some kind of offense off the bench, and be there when they need him in the fourth quarter. You can even feel like a Montrezl Harrell in there. Anybody, honestly. But
yeah,
Middleton can't be, like you said, Middleton can't be your number 2 guy. I think they need to go from there first and then figure out the rest.
I don't know. Who would you get as the number 2? So Middleton could be a solid number 3.
Not sure, man, honestly. But to be honest, I don't think it matters who Giannis gets, or if they stick together or whatever. I don't think they can win with that team they have, and I don't think Giannis can win in Milwaukee. Giannis might have to go to another team if he wants a chip.
I agree with you. I think he might have to leave. It's just a matter of who. I mean, there's now teams, setting up their salary cap. So when it is time for Giannis to become a free agent, they're going to line up. There's been whispers about Miami being, in the hunt for it. Obviously, Golden State has been, talking about, like, they've been wanting, to get Giannis. And they've been talking about it for, like, the last year and a half. So, I don't know.
Interesting to see what they do, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever gets Giannis is instant. The team is instantly better. So,
correct.
You're gonna be playoff ready, but it's just you got to put pieces around him, or have someone that can work with him. Because Giannis takes over, but when he's not taking over, the whole team itself doesn't really kill it.
Of course, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. I don't know. It'd just be very interesting to see, what happens moving on forward with this team. I mean, do you give up Bledsoe in a trade? Because I think you got to give up Bledsoe.
You probably do got to give up Bledsoe, but like I said, you can go from a lot of teams. You can give up Middleton. You can train for something else, or you can keep Middleton and bring someone else in.
I just think honestly that Middleton contract is going to be really hard to move, because who's going to want to have as a solid number 3, $30 million on their books. I personally don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But who knows, man? This is a delicate situation, and I can see why they had a 3-hour lunch because you can go a million different routes.
Yes, you're right about that. But look, we have Game 2 tomorrow for the Eastern Conference Finals. Giannis won't be participating in that. You'll be watching that at home, just like us. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is on Friday, and here we go. I mean, the race to the finals is on, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what happens between the Heat and the Celtics. But if you want to get more live feedback from us, follow us on Twitter at Four Corner Sports NY. All right, I'm Flavio. All right, that's the heavy jalapeno on the other end. All right, and this concludes Dropping Dimes episode 2. Stay tuned for next week's for another episode of Dropping Dimes, and we'll be covering more on these conference finals and any more news on who gets to fill in these coaching vacancies. All right, guys. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out.